Today I have Maria Emmerich. And Maria was somebody that I followed during my second healing journey with breast cancer. I realized that I had become insulin resistant and I needed to improve my metabolic flexibility. And so I started looking at the ketogenic diet, and I, did some deep dives into that, as most of you know, and came across Maria's website, and her recipes were amazing and simple. And I loved her energy and her, positive attitude about life, and just looked like a wonderful person. So I'm really excited to have you live on my podcast. So thank you for taking the time.
Dr. V, you made my day. You're so sweet. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of your journey, because we all have one, and food can really be your medicine. I'm grateful that I could be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. So we always start with our pain to passion journey. So you had some serious health issues, PCOS, IBS, and you went down the path of figuring out what it would take to make your body healthy. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, at 16 years old, I worked at a coffee shop where I would go before high school, and I would make the scones and the muffins and the cinnamon rolls. And then after school, I would go back to the coffee shop, and we would close about 5 p.m. And whatever didn't sell that day, I got to go home with, because nobody wants a leftover cinnamon roll, right? And so when I started to not feel good, I went to my family doctor. I didn't even tell my parents I was going. I just went. And at that visit, I was told I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is basically a type 2 diabetes that affects female fertility. So that was kind of like, I also was pretty depressed. So the doctor gave me an antidepressant. She gave me something for IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And I had severe acid reflux, really, really bad. And so I was given an acid blocker. And that doctor told me that it was the cards I was dealt in life. It was nothing I was doing wrong. And never once asked what I was eating. But as fate had it, I took my beautiful golden retriever, who was losing patches of her hair, to the vet that same week. And the first question the vet asked me, what are you feeding her?
Oh.
And so it was like a real light bulb went off. We changed her diet and my diet at the same time. Her hair grew back. But let me tell you, Dr. V, I love cinnamon rolls, and I did not want to give them up. So I just started making some of my favorite foods into like exotic, sugar-free, low-carb creations. I don't want to live off of chicken breast and broccoli. I don't think anybody does. That's why diets fail. And this is why I'm so passionate about getting in the kitchen. I have a Pop-Tart recipe. I have, you name it. It doesn't have to be that complicated. We can talk about that. But whatever you're craving, I bet I have a recipe for. I bet it tastes better than that stale cardboard thing at the grocery store. And that's basically how I started. But I married my husband. I met him when I was only 17, and we started adopting. And I went to school for nutrition and exercise physiology. However, I just wanted to be a mom. That was like, I just really wanted to hold those babies. And so we started adopting, just because we knew with PCOS, it would be kind of difficult. And my husband was awesome about, yes, let's adopt, and we'll save some kids that need parents. So we started adopting, and he lost his job. And I had a job. I was a rock climbing guide. I didn't have insurance. I made like $8 an hour. And a dear friend of mine said, Maria, you're going to put your recipes together in a cookbook and sell it to raise money for your adoption. And so I did. And I never once paid $1 for advertising. And all of a sudden, Halle Berry has it, and Al Roker has it, and Valerie Bertinelli, and people were feeling great, losing weight. And it was like written in the stars. All that badness that happened to me, I'm grateful for, because it makes me appreciate the things I have today.
Absolutely. And so I used to breed golden retrievers. So golden retrievers are dear and near to my heart. So yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful dogs. So your goal is to help transform people's lives and to start living again. Everybody does not like to hear the word diet. And like you say, diets don't work, right? And it's not just about losing the weight, right? It's about creating vibrant health. And so talk about why you started moving towards keto, and what did you learn about ketogenic diet, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that?
Well, so when I was 16, that was like 25 years ago, you can do the math, but there wasn't a lot of like, did we call it keto? Not really. It was probably referred to as Atkins back then, but Dr. Atkins was a very clean, he liked clean food, good proteins, healthy, what you think of as Atkins with the bars and the shakes and all that. That's not, it's kind of what's happening to keto right now.
Right.
What I did, I wanted to eliminate the carbohydrates. I wanted to eliminate caffeine because that also was causing high androgens, and that makes you less insulin sensitive, which is not a good thing. I wanted to, get rid of the sugar. Everybody knows sugar is bad. So I just got rid of the sugar. I got rid of the carbohydrates. I focused on protein as my main fuel. I always felt way better on that. My hair looks better when I get my protein on. I guess the good and the bad, what you hear about keto is if you do research on keto, the research is based off of people with epilepsy and seizures, which I do work with those people. And in that case, a very high fat diet is important to keep the seizures away because your ketones will go higher. However, 99% of people that come to me for help, they want to lose weight. If they load on the fat, they're not only going to gain weight, they might start losing their hair, feel awful. Their triglycerides are going to go through the roof. Why? Because they're not prioritizing protein. They're just drinking bulletproof coffee and fat bombs and all of this, which are devoid of nutrients. And every part of your body, your bones, like especially with women with osteopenia, your bones are basically mineralized protein. So if you don't focus on protein in a healthy body, a person that doesn't have epilepsy or seizures, protein is the goal. You use fat as a lever. If you want to lose weight, let's dial the fat down, right? The American diet's already high fat. So like, let's just be real, people. It's already high fat. We're not saying, add in fat. You lower it if you want to lose weight. And then the carbohydrates, you kind of keep to a minimum. So the breads, the pasta, the rice, the pizza, whatever you crave, I probably have a recipe for. I have pizza and pasta and all that. But those are the things you really want to be aware of. And that's what I started with. I lowered the carbohydrates, got rid of all the white sugar. And for me, when I would look at a college syllabus, I'd get very almost anxious. Like, I have to do all of this in a semester. That's impossible. And if you're looking at your diet that way, don't do it like that. What I did was, okay, I'm cutting out sugar and I'm cutting out the carbohydrates. Every week I made a new goal, and until I accomplished that goal, I would focus on that. And then I would add a new goal, and I still make goals to this day. And that was decades ago because I want to become my best self, so if it's, okay, let's start doing yoga, let's focus on hydration, whatever it is, that's what's really important. I guess people get concerned with this high fat, what if I get high cholesterol, whatever, but I do want people to realize cholesterol makes healthy hormones. And people with low cholesterol, not only is that the leading cause of cancer, it's also a leading cause of depression. So if you're trying to put your cholesterol lower with medication or whatnot, I'd probably look at where's the inflammation. Are you inflamed? Is the cholesterol number really a problem? Because we keep lowering and lowering the number to be the normal, and it's causing a lot of issues in our world.
Absolutely. Totally. I remember when a healthy cholesterol was 300. Now they're 200 and below. It's crazy. So go ahead.
I was going to say, instead of focusing on your cholesterol, I would get a calcium score. And what a calcium score does is it tells you if you have any plaque buildup in your arteries. That's the true cause of heart issues. So get that done. If your doctor is not opening to get it, find a new doctor. If they say that you get too much radiation from it, say I was on a plane last week and I get more radiation than a plane ride, then I do that. Sometimes they make up excuses why not to do it, because here's the thing. 2 weeks after you get your results, they're supposed to talk to you. The doctor's legally supposed to talk to you about what they mean. Half the time they don't. And if they don't know what the numbers mean, they're going to push back and say, we don't have that test, or there's no such thing, or something like that. But there is.
So you're talking about a calcium score blood test or a calcium score with the scan, the heart scan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that done.
What was your calcium score?
Oh, it was 0.
Yeah,
Like,
good.
it was, it was relatively high. And then I changed things in my diet, took lots of L-arginine, and yeah.
Yep. Good. Vitamin K2, not K1. Vitamin K2 is the biggest contributor if you do have a high calcium score to take that. I mean, even my kids take that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about protein. So when you refer to protein, are you talking just animal protein? How do you feel about like a vegan? Is there such thing as a vegan, vegetarian, keto lifestyle?
Honestly, not a healthy one. Not a healthy one.
Right.
To do vegan keto would not be healthy whatsoever. I do work with those people. And I always say, is it because you love animals so much or because you think it's healthy? Because if you think it's healthy, sit down, I'm going to teach you a lot, because it's not healthy.
Right.
It's not sustainable. It's the ruminant animals are not the ones destroying our environment. So let's get back to reality. But if it's because you love animals so much, I'll work with them. Obviously, like we'll make arrangements or religious reasons, I get that too. But if you do vegan protein, you don't get the complete amino acids, like pea protein, all that. You're never going to get the complete amino acids. And that's when you will fail in some aspect of your life, because every cell of your body needs protein. So even within animal protein, beef versus chicken versus egg versus whey, all of it has different rates of absorption. This is why bodybuilders do whey protein shakes. I personally don't recommend it, especially for weight loss. First of all, because dairy is a big autoimmune contributor, and that would be whey protein. Second of all, it's so quickly absorbed into your bloodstream, it usually causes a blood sugar spike. It's not good for somebody with insulin resistance, right? Mm-hmm. And so just getting back to chewing your food is much more satiating than drinking whey shakes and that type of stuff. So I prefer to chew, animal protein. It's very satiating. It's good. It has all of the animal protein has the fats in it. If you think about like our ancestors, when they would kill a woolly mammoth, did they get the butter churner out to put butter all over it? No, they did not. You do not need to add a stick of butter to your steak. And if your weight loss is your goal, you're probably going to gain weight doing that. But that's the keto stuff I see online all the time. So,
yeah. All right. Now, I know one of your specialties is brain neurotransmitters and how food can really increase your mental awareness and wellness. So let's talk about the neurotransmitters and the types of foods that we need to really focus on.
I love that you talked about L-arginine and like these different amino acids. That's was made up of. It's found in animal protein. When you break that down, it has different amino acids, and those amino acids are what cause serotonin to be very good for your brain, like 5-H or like tryptophan, the T tryptophan, that in turkey. That increases serotonin. There's different brain neurotransmitters like GABA. That's very calming for us. Those are all found in animal proteins, okay? So if you don't focus on animal proteins, you're usually going to fall short. However, there's other reasons that someone could have some sort of depression, anxiety, whatever. The leading cause of anxiety in women is low progesterone. And I see women that are, 20 in their teenager years with very low progesterone. We're living in this estrogen dominant state. With breast cancer, you're aware, estrogen dominance. We live in the estrogen world with scented candles and scent sprays and perfume and plastic, drinking from plastic water bottles. All this stuff is causing us to have this high estrogenic level, and that causes low progesterone because they're not balanced. That causes you to wake up in the middle of the night, have anxiety. So is it that? Also a healthy gut. People used to think the neurotransmitter was in your brain. It goes from your gut to your brain. So if you keep inflaming your gut with, even if you go like gluten, if someone's celiac and they go gluten-free, but they eat a bunch of like rice bread and rice flours and all this, they're inflaming their gut just as if they ate sugar, because when you eat like a cracker, that's not sweet. Once it gets into your bloodstream, it causes your blood sugar to go up. Ask any type 2 diabetic, that's what happens. So even if you don't eat sugar, are you eating bagels and bread and pasta and rice and that, or, chips? Some people are like, Maria, I don't have a sweet craving, but I like chip, or I like salt. I was like, well, is it salt on broccoli? Is it salt on chips? Because, the chips are turning into sugar. To me, that's a sugar craving.
Right, right.
But then there's more things like if you have high histamines. Histamines will block serotonin. So even if you're eating the right things, that could cause a response where you don't absorb that too. So there's a lot of different, your low vitamin D. So kind of attacking it at like so many different approaches. There's even more than just that. Lyme disease and all of that, finding out what's going on, what's causing you to not feel your best,
Yes. Now, I know when I started ketogenic diet, and this was, so 2015, a lot of things have changed and improved since then, but it felt really complicated, like counting my carbs, counting my fats, counting my proteins, and measuring the weights. And so, and I know you don't do a lot of that. So how does somebody get started? They want to lower their sugars, they want to lower their carbs, they want to increase, some healthy fats and some proteins. How do they get started?
First thing I would say, do I count my macros? No, right now I just know what foods taste best to me. I'm not trying to lose weight, like if someone is very desperate to, like, they're feeling really awful, yeah, I do the macros for you. And I make the meal plans for you. So you don't have to count, you just follow what I tell you to do. So if you want to do that, you can. However, first steps, get the junk out of the house because nobody needs it. Whatever's calling your name at that moment of weakness, you only have so much willpower in a day. And if you're, giving up all your willpower to your family and your work and all of this, when it comes to food at dinner time and you're so worn out and you're hungry and there's nothing prepared, you're just going to grab whatever's in the pantry. We all been there. There's no judging. Mm-hmm. That's why it's not here. I'm well removed from that food, from those foods that would call me in the middle of the night. But if it's ice cream, whatever it is, don't keep it in the house because nobody needs it. My kids eat this way. They're 11 and 12. They don't know any different. I would just say that's the biggest thing is fuel your house, get your house ready for success. Because if you don't plan for success, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. Now, there's lots of junk out there when it comes to ketogenic diets, all kinds of shakes and bars and proteins and crackers. So you just blogged about something called dirty keto versus healthy keto. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, there's been a lot of uproar about it because everybody's using chalk zero syrup and this keto bread from Costco and these keto crackers from Costco. First of all, if it comes out of a package, I wouldn't eat it. And, it's compromised. If it sits on a shelf, it's compromised. Just think about that, So do I cook every day? No, but I plan ahead. So I always have, extras ready at the, I have bread recipes and I have bread in the freezer. I have bread in the fridge, but I make it. The problem, keto got very popular a couple of years ago. And then all these companies started jumping on the bandwagon, making keto breads. And there's ingredients. So yes, maybe it fits in your macros, but if you look at the ingredients, they're atrocious. They're never going to make you feel better. They're going to cause a damaged gut. So those packaged foods, I really want people to think twice about. If it's made out of like corn fiber, stay away. Corn makes cows fat really fast. So that's what it's going to do to us. So stay away from it. It causes a big blood sugar spike. And I showed that with some examples of people eating like the chalk zero chocolate or whatever. But then I don't want people to get depressed. So on that post, instead of the crackers at Costco, try these. So I gave a link to either my recipe or a product that really does have good ingredients because if there was a time I didn't know how to read labels, and if it said it was low carb, keto, I would have fell for that too. But I really want people to be aware and I want them to tell their friends because people are like, oh, I tried keto, it didn't work for me. Well, I bet if I would have helped you, it would have worked, because people are just guided down. I like it when I was the only crazy keto lady talking about it because, I was telling it my way. And now there's just so much bad information out there. It's like, quiet the noise.
Right.